Good to see you today. Well, at least you can see me. I can't see you, but greetings. It's April 15. I'm here set up to do, can I modify that? There we go. Get that green off there. I'm here actually where I film my devotionals. I'm ready to film the next 4, but it's time for this. So welcome aboard, and we are carrying forward, and so what are we going to talk about today? This has kind of come up very quickly. So I do have something here with me that I'm going to be, I will expect to do 2 videos on, but let's start with, today's April 15th, and so it's a beautiful sunny day outside. Nevertheless, we're going to deliver these. We've been reading in the Exodus, and so we're all the way into Exodus 23. I'm going to be filming today starting in Exodus 24, so you'll have that tomorrow morning. And we kind of take a shift of gears here. We've been in a section on law in Exodus, the Exodus devotionals. But then what happens is we are shifting back. Remember, there's different genres in Scripture. There's different kinds of inspired writing. Like from Genesis to Revelation, it's all inspired. But within that set of inspired writings, there's different kinds of writing. So one of the main things we find here is what's called narrative. Narrative, is like we read through and it tells the story, Jacob went here, Jacob went there, this happened, that happened. And that's when we get kind of a recollection of the story, we're getting we're called narrative. Each different kind of writing it's all inspired, but they are inspired, they have a little bit different emphases the way the communication happens. So like if you're reading in the Proverbs, that's called wisdom literature. Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Psalms, things like that are usually called wisdom literature. And as we look at that, the Proverbs kind of come in these slices, here's 2 or 3 Proverbs. And is that the same as narrative? Well, no, it's inspired, but we're getting wisdom kind of in clumps there. We're getting insight in clumps, and then you apply it. Narrative gives you the story, and you work your way through, and then you watch as you go through, and from time to time you'll see you'll see the inspired writer, God will sort of break through. I mean, he's already there, but what I'm saying is you get a perspective, you get a viewpoint from the Bible writer, where suddenly God chips in and he says, God is unhappy about this. So you're kind of getting a kind of a peek behind the scenes. So the Bible consists of many different genres, different kinds of writing. And so as we've been going through Exodus, what do we find in the book of Exodus? Well, we've got 40 chapters here, and now we're in the last half. But the first portion of Exodus is largely narrative. Here's what happens. The Hebrews do this, Pharaoh does that, God does this, Hebrews do that. And we kind of go through the story till we get to Mount Sinai. And then we get a bunch of law, and we've just gone through a big portion of law. And now as we get off into 24 of Exodus, and 25, we're going to get, Moses goes up on the mountain again. So we're kind of shifting back to narrative. And again, each kind of writing has its own features. We'll be looking into that. And then actually I'm going to, let me see here what I've got. I'm going to actually finish the last part of 23, and then I'm going to do 24. So I've got 4 more here from 23 I'm doing right after this. So then we'll do 24, which is the shift from law to, even right here, where I'm picking up with verse 20 here in a few minutes. That's going to carry through and give us some interesting kind of law business. 24 is going to be back to narrative, and Moses is going to go up on the mountain, and different developments are going to happen. So we'll come along into that, and then we're going to get over to the sanctuary stuff, which I've been looking forward to, and that's what's coming up. So we're continuing our study in the book of Exodus as we go. More devotionals coming your way. I have a book that my friend, at the time, he was in Tokyo. I'm in Michigan, so not quite. But he turned me on to this book, and I purchased it, and it has sat on my shelf here for a year and a half. And finally, I read a small portion when I first got it, but I've been so busy with this and that But I'm going to go ahead and tell you what right ahead now, some stuff that's coming. So there's two channels. There's Larry the Guy from Michigan, and 3 weeks or so ago I started a channel called Repair the Breach WO. It's another channel over here on YouTube, and that's more of a channel devoted to women's ordination and associated questions. And so, to my surprise, that channel has just taken off like crazy. And it's like every time I look at it, there's new subscribers and about 20,000 hits. So, impressions. I forget how many watch hours I have now. There about 900 or 1,000 watch hours. So, surprise, yeah, there's a desire and an interest there. Some of you might be new to the channel from that stuff. So I'm now I have to feed two beasts. I've got to feed the Larry the Guy from Michigan channel, and I'm glad to do it. And also feeding the Women's Ordination channel, Repair the Breach. We believe, as we look at the Bible, that God has a plan for how His church works, how His world works, and men and women are both made in God's image. They're both immeasurably special, but there's certain things that a woman does that she can do that a man can't do, and certain things that a man is supposed to do that a woman is not particularly called to do. So anyway, yeah, in the church, in a congregational setting, God calls spiritually qualified males to lead. Well, I'm not going to carry on about that, but that's some of the stuff we're dealing with over there at the channel. But I've got a book here that I've been planning to deal with for a long time. I never have gotten around to it, and today, well, you can see besides the latter parts I've read, I'm around halfway here. But I'm hoping to finish this in the next 36 hours. I'll probably do 2 videos related to this. What is it? So without further ado, this is the book, Radical Spirits, Spiritualism and Women's Rights in the 19th Century America by Anne Braude. I have to figure out how to pronounce that name. This is a book about spiritualism. It talks about universalism, spiritualism, Quakers, the beginning of the women's rights movement, and how all that stuff began in America. Now, you may have a certain idea about all that, but it's very interesting to go back in the history and see how it began, because it's truly remarkably fascinating. I think I'm going to do at least two videos on this. I'm going to do one for Larry the Guy from Michigan channel, and that's going to be sort of a book reaction, like I've done many before, book reactions on this and that. And I'm going to do one on the theology that comes out of spiritualism. You can say, what? Theology coming out of spiritualism? But you'll understand better when I get there, when I present it. So I'm hoping I won't be filming this today, because I still have to finish reading and study and write it and film it out. But anyway, yeah, this is absolutely wild. The influence of spiritualism, and for a long time I've had in my mind questions about how does spiritualism in the 1800s become modern spiritualism? And I've been following up on that for a long time, trying to understand that, reading this and that and studying. Well, this is filling in a lot of gaps. And of course, the last, 40 or 50 pages is all documentation, the notes that go with each chapter. But wow. Yeah, I'm not going to spill it to you all right now, but it is absolutely wild the way it's laying out here. I'm seeing things and understanding things in a way that is very interesting to me, and I think is going to fill in some gaps. So the theology behind this comes, and it very, very much affects us in our day. So you have, when we think about feminism, which I've just done a lot of this material that's over on Repair the Breach WO, we've got a little bit there, we have a new video, 3 kinds of feminism, which is, I'm surprised how interested you all are in that, but good. So that's getting a lot of attention, and I forgot how many, but you're watching it, other people are watching it. There are 3 different kinds of feminism, and where do they all come from? Well, and at some point I may do also a presentation on the 3 waves of feminism. In fact, I've got a little short I'm going to do, but that's just hardly a sentence or two, just a summary. So there are 3 waves of feminism. There's kind of a wave in the 1840s that's called first wave feminism. Then there's a wave in the 1960s that is second wave feminism, and I grew up, as a child. I was born in '62, right? So yeah, here's the Neanderthal in me coming out. But yeah, there is feminism and how it impacts the culture, and many of us today grew up in that. Then you get 1990s and you get third wave feminism, and man, everything goes. That sets up for where we are today with Obergefell and the LGBT stuff. That really it completely sets us up for that. So anyway, there's three waves of feminism. The first wave has a that's what we're going to address here is this religious background of the first wave. The second wave has a very much a secular background, and secular religions is kind of an interesting topic that comes there. And then when we get to the third wave in the 90s, which, again, most of us that are listening to this have lived through that. That takes us to where we are today and where we're going to be in a couple of years, God forbid. But anyway, there are very different ideas. There's very particular ideas and how they play out along the way. Ideas have consequences. What we believe has consequences. If we're outside the Bible, why we're in a place that's going to have an enormous amount of consequences for us once we depart from Scripture and land somewhere where we're following our own brilliant ideas that are, kind of coming out of our head. And, because at the moment we think them, we think, oh, brilliant. But if we could see the angels standing by, the highly intelligent angels, I don't know what expressions angels put on their faces, but if they allow their expressions to be seen, I wonder if the angels are kind of like, when we have a brilliant idea that's outside the Bible, I know what the angels are going like. They're just, do those guys, do they think that's smart? What's going on? So the angels, I'm sure they're patient and respectful, but maybe we don't deserve that much respect for some of our ideas. So anyway, we go back to the Bible. We're looking for help from the Bible. God has revealed. Christianity is a revealed religion. I know it's kind of a Mormon kind of a saying, and believe me, I'm not LDS, but I do believe that Christianity is a revealed religion. God has in the Scriptures told us things we could not otherwise understand, by studying the chipmunks and the rocks and the physics of the universe and all that. There's things that we can't understand by looking at how many rings, growth rings in a tree or whatever. So, yeah, we go to the Bible because God has given us special help and special insight to understand our world. And in the Bible, it is the preeminent book if you want to understand humanity, human nature, how you work, how you think, what you are, with the situation we're in with sin in the world. The Bible is the answer book. It's the question book because it asks the correct questions. It is the answer book because it gives the factual correct answers. You cannot top the Bible. The Bible is just, the Bible's lots of fun. Isn't it fun? That's not fun isn't our measure. Okay, I get that. But it's fun to know what the facts are. It brings joy to know something that's true. When you see something and it's beautiful and you actually have some degree of understanding because you've been in the Bible, that brings pleasure. And so, yeah, day by day you read through the Bible. Set yourself up so that you begin your day reading through the Bible, and your life will be blessed. You will be benefited. People, we need Jesus, and it's like, why do we need Jesus? Why do we need that? Why can't we just make it all up as we go? Well, it's just kind of what these guys are doing. But yeah, that leads into bad places. So onward we go. Let's see here. What else did I want to touch on today? Yes, I told you last week that I've been had a lot of things coming up because we're doing evangelistic, just a 4-part evangelistic series. So I did present those talks, the 3 of the 4. So we talked on Friday night about how we got here, how the world went sideways. Saturday or Sabbath morning, we talked about 2 prophetic grids. We studied Revelation 13 and 18. That went on a bit longer than I intended, but anyway, people seem to enjoy that in the handout. Saturday night in the evening, Sabbath evening, we talked about Mark of the Beast, fact or fiction. And then this coming Sabbath, Saturday morning at 10:30, here in 5 or 6 days, whenever that is, I'll be presenting Jesus and the Seal of God. And without going into any of this particularly here, a lot of people are interested in the Kerugma, the mark of the beast in Revelation 13, and they study it and they think, well, this must be, these things and these things, and oh, look, I found a barcode. Maybe that's what the mark of the beast is. And everybody's got a kind of their own strange, and a lot of them are truly qualified as strange ideas about what is the mark of the beast. Because why? Because they're just grabbing stuff. They're just having an idea, and the angels are going, but they're having an idea, and they think, oh, maybe the mark of the beast has to do with this. Well, if you want to know what the mark of the beast is, or any other thing in the Bible, you go to the Bible. Go to the Bible, start with the Bible, read the Bible, study the Bible, find out what's in the Bible, and begin your work there, do your work there, complete your work there. Is that asking too much? I mean, find out, go to the source and find out what these things stand for. And as we study the mark of the beast, we find that it is not only things we've talked about that, but we also find that there's something else in contrast to the mark of the beast, the seal of God. What is that? So what would we do for that? Well, we would go to the Bible. But where in the Bible would we go for that? Well, since John is the Bible writer that God uses to tell us about the mark of the beast, why don't we go over to John? So we go to the 5 writings of John, Gospel of John, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John epistles, Book of Revelation. There's 5 writings of John. I know the scholars say Revelation wasn't written by the same guy, or these things were written by the same guy, but I've studied them. I've reached my conclusion. These 5 are written by the same guy, John. If you don't like that, have a nice day anyways. So we go to the writings of John to find out what he's talking about, and we zero in on the passages where he uses these phrases, and many times there's only 1 or 2. But when we see, in contrast to the mark of the beast, we see the seal of God. And we go to the book of Revelation, chapter 7, and there's just 2 or 3 places in the book of Revelation where you'll find this phrase, the seal of God. Then we look into the other parts of the Bible, the New Testament, the Old Testament, and so on. We look to see what we can glean. And after we've kind of gathered up all the pieces of Scripture that seem to touch on that, we sort them out and look at them. We look at them in their context. We want to understand them in their context. And then what we do is we try to reach a conclusion that makes sense within the context. So anyway, that's what I've got. That's what I'm going to be presenting. I have all week to kind of finish that up and present it next Sabbath morning. Jesus and the seal of God, because his plan is to get us through this crazy time and bring us safely through the crazy things of the intensities of this earth's last sections. So at some point I'll be doing presentations on that, perhaps here on the channels, but not right now. I'm just going to continue to study and pull that together. So I guess I won't talk a lot more about that here, but that's part of my work this week. So here's what I'm planning to do this week. It's like vaporware until it happens, I know. But I want to do a Horizon Watch video and get my new Horizon Watch newsletter out, which is a little bit later than usual. I'm going to finish the evangelistic meetings. Going to get some more devotionals ready for you. And hopefully, and at night, probably can't have it by tomorrow night. Anyway, sometime this week, I hope to have 2 videos scripted on this business. One which will be a book reaction just to the book, and one is going to do a deeper dive on the theology that arises out of spiritualism, which has transformed itself over the time into some things that we're living in right now. Okay, so modern spiritualism starts with, not modern spiritualism, the 1800s spiritualism, and absolutely wild stuff. I've been marking my quotes, so I will not be coming disarmed. I'll be coming to you armed with things you can check yourself. So anyway, those are some bits here, some updates and bits. As you can see today, I'm not in my other space. I'm in this space, and I'm glad you've joined me. And I pray you'll continue to be blessed, and I pray that you will continue to be blessed on the um, channels this week. And I'm hoping to get a short done here for you on the WO channel, and devotionals every day on the other channel, and then these couple of serious presentations here with the book reaction and so on here. Plenty of things, and it gets the brakes checked on the car too. So, hey, the Lord bless you, watch over you, give you a joyful week, and make sure that you're in the Bible every day. Make sure that you're receiving His help and blessings every day. Subscribe to the channels and all that stuff. I don't talk a lot about the other channels, because don't you get tired of those guys that are always ranting, subscribe and hit the bell. So I don't talk about that, except just now. Hey, have a great time. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm going to find the button here and turn it all off. And you be blessed, because you're in the Word and you're following the Lord Jesus.